Hello everyone.
Hello.
Dr. Colleen and Dr. Mark here from Lifetime Wellness. Hopefully you got the message that live at 7:05 was a little bit postponed
25.
this evening. Happy to say things are hopping here. People are not waiting until January to get started on some new health goals. So we had a very exciting day around here, exciting week around here,
Yep.
which leads me to my question of the day. Are you someone who typically sets a New Year's resolution or a goal in the new year, an objective, start some type of a new plan revolving around your health? Please type yes or no in the comments. Let us know if that's something that you normally do. It doesn't have to be a New Year's resolution, but maybe just a new goal, a new plan around the new year. Just curious how many of you actually do that. We do, which is why we've been talking about detoxification and cell health, cell regeneration for the last few weeks, because we're moving closer and closer to teaching you and sharing with you what it is that we do at the beginning of a new year, the type of cellular detoxification that we look forward to press that giant restart button in our own health. So, as always...
I mean, we're both almost 65, and so you can see what it's done for us.
As always, we love it when you share what we're talking about, but this is really important. This topic is really, really important that we get this out to the masses, because toxins have found their way out to the masses and are not going anywhere anytime soon. So we've painted this picture over the last few weeks talking about cellular toxicity and inflammation, we're at a point, we've been at a point for a number of years where it's not a one and done thing. Detoxification cannot be a one and done thing. This has to become part of an intelligent, healthy lifestyle. So we're picking the biggest and the best protocol that we know to use for ourselves personally to revamp our health, and that's where we're going to pick up today, is leading you down that path. I'm going to grab some water.
What is that called that we're doing?
We haven't even announced it yet. It's called... Well, we haven't. We're waiting till tonight to let them know.
Tonight's the night.
It's called Detox with the Docs. Some of you know, if you're on our email list, you know what it's called. Yeah. Detox with the Docs launches in January. We'll get into the specifics about that in a little bit, but first we need to talk about, where we left off last week. I'm going to grab some water.
Yep. So, in the Detox with the Docs, we're going to be starting in January. So this is something that you can do along with us, and we're really looking forward to people, taking a huge leap towards improving their health and regaining their health. So the last few videos, we've been talking about toxins and detox and cellular inflammation and the sort, which said tonight we're going to get into the details of really the kind of the system that we use, the program that we use, so that it's done correctly, it's done safely, and it's done very effectively. So tonight we're going to kind of break down the steps that we use. And I absolutely love this program. I use it with a lot of patients, and we get just great results. We've been using this for a really long time, and it's just a beautiful package and system that allows you to follow the system and just get great results. So there's a visual that I wanted to use tonight, and so you're not going to be able to really see it a whole lot, but this is going to break down the steps that we use, the phases that we use, and how the body's being affected. You can see this image on our website if you go to lifetimewellness.net. At the top on the menu bars, you'll see True Cellular Detox. There's a video there. There's a little newsletter, a little toxic survey you can take. But this image there, you can even download it. There's another one with the buckets. If you remember from a previous video, the bucket I drew, there's a bucket image. So that's where you can go if you want to see this.
This was also posted earlier today on the page you're on right now, on our Facebook page.
Fantastic.
If you just scroll down 2 posts, I think you'll see that.
So again, we talk about
Hey, Ginger.
Detoxification. It is simply one of the most impactful things you can do to improve your health, restore your health, regain your health, reverse chronic illness, because we know toxins by far are the #1 source of chronic inflammation, and we've talked about that in previous videos, how it disrupts cellular function. That's where things go right, that's where things go wrong. So in order to fix that, you've got to not only detox at a cellular level, but what's missing in a lot of programs that involve cleansing and detoxing is the second step, which is equally as important, and that is going in there and fixing and repairing the damage that's happened at a cell. So that's what I love about this program, and I can promise you there is no other program out there like this one. And as we explain the details of what's included in this, it's going to blow you away, because it really it's so complete and so comprehensive.
That's why we're doing it.
Yeah, this is what our family uses. So up at the top we have a cell, and then we have the brain. Very important to detox the brain at some point, because that's where a lot of toxins, they love fat. Your brain's over 60% fat, so a lot of toxins can accumulate in the brain. You can't start there though. So there's a progression to work through at detoxing the body to create sort of this concentration gradient with getting toxins out of the body, okay? But there's some components that are really important, and this is in addition to the diet and nutrition strategies that we coach people on and the resources that we provide. That's vitally important, because you can't be eating a toxic diet while you're trying to detox. So that's really important. But the tools that we use, the supplements that we use, are really there to do a great job of detoxing the body completely, but also repairing things at the cell. So these are some of the components that are what really set this apart and what make this such a complete program. We call it the 5 R's of cellular healing, and first R is really removing the source. So if there's toxic things in your life, whether it's stuff in your kitchen, in your home, in your mouth, in your water,
in your
relationships, there's a lot of areas that we can have toxicity in our lives. So not just chemical toxins, but toxic emotions, toxic movement patterns, poor posture. But one simple area that people can do, and we can provide, a sort of a checklist, is, open the pantry, look in the fridge, look at what's, you're supplying for food in your family, and get rid of the toxic sources. Maybe it's adding a water filter, a simple one that you can purchase. If you have some toxicity in the mouth, it might take you a while to, work at getting all that corrected. Doesn't mean you can't start to detox now. Maybe that's down the road for you. But there are things in your life, immediate things in your life, that you can remove. So that's R number 1, kind of the obvious. R number 2 is regenerating the cell membrane. So if you remember back some of the things on the whiteboard, we talked about the cell membrane and how that gets inflamed and congested, so the cell is not that healthy. So we have specific tools included in our phases that help the cell to regenerate a really healthy cell membrane, so the body can communicate better and the cell itself is healthy. R3 is restoring cellular energy. So this is supporting the mitochondria, those really important organelles inside the cell that produce ATP, the currency of life. They do a lot of things. Your mitochondria do way more than just produce ATP. Really critical, and a lot of chronic illnesses you're going to start seeing in the news and in the science really come down to mitochondrial dysfunction as a precursor or an igniter to things like cancer and other things. So supporting your mitochondria and restoring health there, vitally important. R4 is reducing cellular inflammation. So again, that could be food sources, that can be other things, but also tools that we use to help as antioxidants, intracellular and extracellular antioxidants, to get rid of the oxidative stress and those free radicals that are doing all the damage. Really, really important. And then R5, this is probably one of the most important R's, and in fact it's included in every single phase. There's 3 phases that I'll explain to you here, and that is reestablishing methylation. Methylation is a big topic. It's a complicated topic. We could do a series of videos on just that topic alone. But just know that methyl groups get very depleted in people, whether it's with a poor diet or due to toxic overload, because methylation is involved in detoxing on a cellular level. So some of you may have heard of methylation. A lot of people now are getting tested for the MTHFR gene defect, and so that's become more common knowledge. Very easy to support that, but it's so important that it's in every phase that we use. So that's the R5. So those are the components that really work at supporting, healing, and repairing the damage that's done to the cells due to toxins and other things and inflammation. A second component of this program is supporting and opening your own natural detox and elimination pathways. So this would include things like your liver, your kidneys, your gut, lymphatic system, the natural pathways that our body uses to collect and get rid of toxins and waste in general. So some people just have such a toxic burden that those areas are really sluggish after time, and so those need to be supported initially so that we're not burdening them when we start detoxing. So that's actually the first phase in our program, is supporting those. We call it the prep phase, where you're making sure they're up to snuff and they're ready to handle when we do start detoxing, that they're going to be able to handle the load and get things out. That's a really important first step to proper detoxification, is preparing your body to be able to handle and get rid of stuff as it's supposed to, as it should. Now we're going to use some additional components to help with that, and that's the third component, is using true binders. So there's a couple products that we use that are true binders, that these are the guys that go in and really chelate toxins out of tissue. And one of them in particular works mainly in the gut and the intestines, where a lot of toxins are going to get dumped, and they're generally bound to bile through the liver. Your liver detoxes, your blood system, and bounds a lot of toxins to bile and dumps it in the intestines. So the one binder we use binds to the bile loaded with the toxins, and it ends up in the toilet. And this is important because one of the efficient systems your body has is it will recycle bile. So if you're not eliminating that bile with toxins, it's going to get recycled back to the liver, and then those toxins can spread again. So this is a really important part as far as supporting our natural pathway and collecting and getting rid of stuff that ends up in the intestines. The second binder is really kind of the rock star, or the all-star in the program. It's called Cyto Detox, and it's chunked down into such small molecular weights that it can cross cell membranes. It can cross the blood-brain barrier, it can cross epithelial tissue barriers, it can get into the bloodstream, into the lymphatic system. Wherever toxins are in your body, this little guy can catch them, can capture them, and we can eliminate them. This particular product, it's a zeolite-based product, and think of it like a tall skyscraper, and you remove the outer shell and you have all these empty chambers, okay? So this is something that's been used historically, throughout the world as a great toxin chelator. So it's used in environmental spills. It's found in the earth, so it's found in the soil. First, our product is cleaned. So when they harvest it out of the ground, it's full of metals and minerals that we found in the earth. So this is a really important step that separates this particular product, because it is totally clean. So we have all empty chambers, and it has a strong affinity, like a magnet, towards toxins due to the charge. And so those chambers start getting filled with toxins. The only way it will let one loose is if a bigger toxin comes by. It's going to dump one and grab the bigger one. And once it's in, it's not going anywhere. And so this is one particular product, this binder that's used in this program, that has the ability to clear the brain of toxins, to clear organs, to clear cells of toxins. We talk so much about the cellular health. So those binders are really important. And I want to talk about binders a little bit because a lot of people will do a detox or a cleanse and it incorporates something like chlorella or blue-green algae or cilantro, different herbs and things that are known to be binders, but they're weak binders. And so they're not going to be strong enough to carry heavy metals out of the body. Unfortunately, they can grab on and they can move them, but then release them. So this is one of the cautionary tales of detoxing, is you want to be careful with what kind of binders you use, because you don't want to be moving toxins, particularly heavy metals, around, because they can end up in damaging organs or the brain. So we want to use binders that just have a really strong affinity, and they're going to get the stuff out. It's going to end up in the toilet and not recirculating throughout the body. So the binders are really, really important and a super key component that's going to clear the body and the brain. So those are kind of the components, and the beauty is really in the step-by-step way that they're delivered, and that's the phases. I don't know if you want to say anything about what we've talked about so far with those.
The phases?
No. The components. You want to add anything to what I've said?
What has attracted, because you need to breathe, you need to take a drink of it. What has attracted us as practitioners to this is what Mark just said, and that's that there's a system, there's a strategy, which is so huge. We've seen people over the years that have come in after doing a kit they bought off the shelf at the corner store or at the warehouse store, and Maybe they got some superficial results, but maybe it threw their system completely into some crazy funk, and we had to kind of rein things in from there. And it was very sporadic, it's isolated, you're just addressing one little component of all these detox pathways in the body, and that can be at best ineffective, at worst it can be dangerous. So we love this strategy, this phasing, this process behind this, and we love how, we'll talk about this in a bit too, how we can personalize it and tweak it for people as well.
Yeah, for sure. And we know, this is a lot of details tonight. This is probably a little bit longer video, so just hang with us on this, and we're going to revisit this, especially a little bit later when we talk about the actual Detox with the Docs program. But I know it's a lot of detail, but we're just trying to summarize the right way to go about this and the huge impact it can have on your health and your life. So let's talk now about the phases. And this is really where the beauty is in this program, is that it's gentle enough that anybody can do this, and you can do it any time of the year. I've had people who had vacations scheduled. Super easy to continue this life. It's not an aggressive program, but it's very effective. But you're not going to be like camping out in a bathroom or things like that. It's very effective. It's very safe, but it's gentle. Anybody can do this, and it's very easy to follow. So if you look at the image, there's 3 phases, and this is really important to do a more comprehensive detox. So and each phase is set up as a month. Sometimes it can go longer if we're going slow with somebody or a little conservative, so it's not set in stone, but each phase is set up as a month or 30 days. So the prep phase, real simple. There's a morning packet. Actually, this is what the prep phase looks like. Very easy to follow. You tear this tab off. There's a morning packet and an afternoon packet. The back shows you what's in each packet. So very simple to follow. But we're initially supporting our own natural detox pathways. So there's support for the kidneys, the liver, the gut, and then there's a couple cellular components in there. First of all, reestablishing some energy, supporting the mitochondria, and some cell membrane regeneration. So right away, we're incorporating components that are going to start helping our body to eliminate things, and then get ready for when we add the 2 binders. So the prep phase, really important way to start that. A lot of people start noticing results right away. They feel better, their energy's better. If they weren't regular, maybe they start to have regular, bowel habits and things like that. Then the next phase is called the body phase. It's a little misleading because we're not just targeting the body with detox. It's everything's happening systemically, but you'll understand in a second here why it's called the body phase. It's just the next step in your detoxification protocol, and now we're adding the binders into this stage, and we're adding some nutrients that from a cellular level start to detox the cell, particularly glutathione, and there's the MORS continues in that one. And so now we're hitting on a cellular level all the tissues, but the binders now are catching and chelating those toxins out of the body. The final phase, when we get to the brain phase, a little different strategy with that one, where the detox components kind of get elevated a little bit, so there's more binders being used, but they're used in a cycling fashion. So week 1 is an on cycle where you're including the binders at a higher level. Week 2, you're not taking them, you're taking other things, but we're taking a break from the heavier detox. Week 3, you're back on. Week 4, you're off. And there's a particular component in the brain phase that does target the brain. It's loaded with things like alpha lipoic acid and some others that really do more target the brain. So that's why they're called the prep body and brain, because this one definitely is targeted more towards the brain. And I would say the most important part of detox is that's the goal, is eventually to get to the brain, because that's where toxins will do the most damage and disrupt your health the most. Mm-hmm. Again, you can't start there, and you've got to work your way to that. That can be quite dangerous for people if they just start pounding and going after the brain. They can really struggle and have some issues. So this is why it's important to go through these phases and eventually get to the brain phase. And from there, some people may stay on. They may do multiple brain phases. If someone has, mercury toxicity or some other heavy metal toxicity, it can take months to a year or longer.
Or anxiety, depression.
Yeah, to detox that out in a safe way. So those are the 3 phases: the prep, the body, the brain, and it's just a progression to where we're really detoxing the entire body, again, in a very effective way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Detox with the Docs, we had already set the date for ourselves to start our detox in January, on January 13th, Monday, January 13th. So that's when this kicks off. Like we said, we've opened up access to this detoxification protocol for anyone, anywhere to join us. So if you're local and you come into our practice, join us. If you're local, you don't come to our practice, doesn't matter, you can still join us. If you're not local, you can join us. We've created 2 different pathways depending on how independent you are. You can join this protocol in an unassisted fashion or with full access and personalized coaching from us every step of the way. So one thing that we love about this protocol and the company behind it is the education that has been provided. There's, as Dr. Marc often says, it's a college level education that comes along with this program without the homework, without the stress.
Yeah, no tests or quizzes.
Just an immense wealth of information in your own portal. You'll have access to this website that's just loaded with educational information, strategies, tips, all sorts.
Yeah, I mean, there's videos, tutorials for every phase you're going through. There's articles on different health topics. There's resources like a full 90-day meal guide, even a smoothie recipe guide. So it's called the portal, and it's something that and this is one thing that totally sets this program apart. There's nothing else like this out there. That anytime someone's doing the True Cellular Detox program, they get access to what's called the portal. So you have your own account, your own username and password, and you have access to this amazing library of resources, video tutorials from other doctors that we know that also use the program. We ourselves provide resources to our clients, and we do our own video lessons. Usually a couple times a month, you'll get things to support you on this journey. But the portal is really incredible and answers so many questions people have, but also provides the how-tos and the what next. And all the things that you need, and lots of articles that you can share with friends and different. I mean, you literally get like a university level education through this. Again, without the homework, it's not to be stressful, but it also helps with some accountability, because as you complete things, complete videos, you can mark finished, and you earn little badges, and it tracks your progress through that. You can just take your time going through that at your own pace.
It's not a video game though. If there's any gamers watching, it's not that.
But it's a great tool that accompanies anyone. So this is one of the things that allows people to be able to do this program at home on their own. The portal and what we send them via email and videos allows them to just do it self-administered and unassisted, and that's one way to participate in this.
That's one way. The other way, like I said, is with full access to us, personalized coaching from us. So this is for someone who maybe you've got some more serious health conditions, or you just know you need a higher level of accountability, or you want that face-to-face connection, because with the personalized coaching option, you're either coming in here every couple weeks or more if needed, or if you're not local, we do live video chats, whatever works for you. We do this with people, like I said, across the country, around the world. So distance is not an issue, really, with technology, the way it's developed. So,
but you're basically getting us as your personal health coach throughout the program, and the full access includes emails and phone calls and any additional visits. Just someone who needs more, say, hand holding, or like you said, maybe they've had some challenging issues that nothing's helping. That might take some tweaking with the program, and so that's what we do. We have visits at least every couple weeks, if not more often.
Yeah. And that's where I mentioned that you can personalize the different stages of the detox as well. So someone who's going through the personalized coaching, we can work more with you on that. We also start to introduce other lifestyle strategies that are going to maximize your results as well. So those could be strategies like what to eat, when to eat, how to move your body, how to offset the effects of stress, different sleep strategies, even getting into some therapeutic fasting potentially, if that would benefit you during this protocol. So all the different strategies that we know and we incorporate in our big coaching programs, we can draw from some of those and help you maximize the benefits and the results you get in this shorter 90-day protocol as well.
Yeah, we've all heard the phrase or the old saying, you know, give a man a fish and feed him for a day, teach him how to fish and you can feed him for a lifetime. That's really what we can accomplish with this program, working with people, is teaching them, you know, things that they can continue doing. This is totally sustainable. Mm-hmm. This is not something you have to stop doing as far as diet strategies or things like that. These are things to maximize your health, and let's face it, it may take more than 90 days for you to restore your health, but this is a good spurt. This is a good start.
Great start.
I guess a couple of quick things that are included. We talked about the meta-oxy test a few videos ago about the measuring inflammation. That's done at every phase in the program too. So the meta-oxy test to recheck your level of inflammation, that's included. So you're measuring and monitoring
in both pathways, whether you're doing
that's just part of the whole protocol.
Yep.
When we see people in office, we do some additional measurements here on a regular basis via our scale, different biometrics we're measuring, possibly even glucose and ketone measurements and things like that. Mm-hmm. So a little bit more measuring and monitoring is on the personal level.
Mm-hmm. You can do that with distance care though too, the glucose and ketone. And then did you talk about the Facebook?
We're also gonna, we have a Facebook group created that's gonna be for anybody doing the TCD with us.
True Cellular Detox.
True Cellular Detox is
Detox
TCD.
with the docs.
And that's where we're going to be, answering questions that, the group would benefit from hearing. And as people can post, questions or post their wins and things like that. Just another area as a support group for people going through this.
Okay, so I know this is going long tonight, which is why we'll come back and give maybe a review of some of these details with the program itself. But we launched Detox with the Docs today. Our first people actually signed up this evening and this afternoon. We've got a few people already waiting for others to join them on a Facebook page.
And why is that?
Because
we have an early bird special we're about to tell you about.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, there's the two different pathways we talked about with the unassisted, you independent solo types. For you to get started, it is $9.97. And for the assisted personal coaching full access protocol right now until and through Christmas Day, we have our early bird pricing of $17.97. So that's a $200 savings off the normal price until Christmas. So jump on it. If this is something you're thinking sounds good and sounds necessary, like you need this to take your health to the next level, don't miss the early bird pricing. And then it gets even better. If you know one other human being, whether it's a spouse, a partner, a buddy, whatever it is, if you have someone else that also would love to do this, or you want to coerce them into doing it with you for accountability, so you can do it
highly
together.
Recommended. Much more successful if, whether it's a spouse or just a friend, someone you guys can support each other. Very successful.
Yeah, this is for the assisted, right? For the full access, you take another $250 off.
Well, a second person gets that, or
when a second
if it's a
person
friend, you can
joins
share the discounts. $250 off for two people, and it's $100 off a second person for unassisted.
Yep.
So
see, that's why we have to do this video, another video on the pricing.
Yeah.
But right now, just know early bird pricing until the end of Christmas Day. It's going to save you some big bucks if you jump on it right away. And the way to jump on it right away for now, for tonight, message us through this page, or leave a comment below just saying I'm interested, raise your hand, whatever that is. If you're watching this later on YouTube or on our website, you will see our phone number somewhere in the information. You can comment on YouTube too. But yeah, our phone number, just call, just comment. It's like we're doing very low tech. There's not some fancy schmancy website. Just contact us and we'll get you registered right away for this.
So we're going to start mid-January, but if you want to get started sooner, you can still do this. You don't have to start at the exact same day as we are. We just had to pick a date for our start. But if you're the kind of, you want to get started before January, that's fine
and also,
too.
Well, also we do have a few kits to get you started in stock right now, but we also need to place your orders. That's why there's a little bit get in on the early bird, because then we know we're going to have your kits in time for January. So there's a little lag time here.
Yep.
Okay. I think that was it.
So I know it was a lot of details, a lot of stuff. Just understand there is a roadmap to follow to radically improve your health, and if you're struggling to really, get things back in order, and then doing a proper detoxification is one of the best steps you can take, most impactful thing you can do for your health. So any questions you have, either just leave us a comment, say, hey, you have a question, we can reach out to you or private message us. And any questions on the details.
Or you can ask on the page publicly as well.
Yeah.
That's okay too.
Yep.
All right.
So, all right.
We'll be back soon with a little more information or a little more clarification on some of the details of how to get started. All right.
Cool.
Talk to you soon.
Let's do this.